What killed your feelings for someone you were once madly in love with?
Hey guys, welcome back again to the channel. So in this video, this lady is asking what killed your feelings for someone you were madly in love with. Okay, all of a sudden you stopped loving this person. What happened? And I have a lot of stitches from different creators who stitched her video and said a lot of things, but we're going to start from her. Let's hear her own thoughts and let's hear from her what made her to stop falling in love with the guy she was once in love with. Okay, let's go watch the video, then we'll come back and talk more about it.
I'll go first. They are the reason I asked God to take my baby back. Part of why I loved that person was because they gave me a sense of security. The first time we ever had a pregnancy scare, I said no, I wouldn't keep it. We're not in a real committed relationship. We're not married, and I don't want to be abandoned, so no, I wouldn't keep it. And they assured me that if something like that ever happened, they'd want the baby, they would be my partner in figuring it out. And then one day, I was late, and then I was very, very late, and then I was sick, nauseous, and then it was time to have a conversation. And when I tried to have that conversation, they wouldn't even look at me. They grew so quiet and just waited for me to leave. They didn't say anything. And then ignored every phone call and text message I sent them for 2 weeks. So I prayed every single day that the ancestors would do what I didn't have the strength to do. And on the 5th day, blood.
They shattered the image of who I thought they were. And if you're new here, I'm a narcissist. I actually have narcissistic personality disorder. So a lot of narcissistic people, when they are love bombing you, they create this perfect image of you in their heads. They think they were actually in love with you, just like I thought I was in love with one of my exes. I created this perfect image of her, just like the perfect person for me. I felt like I had found my soulmate. Here comes the love bombing process and things like that. It was super hot and heavy for a few months. Everything is moving super fast, just like typical narcissistic types of relationships do. One day she just opened her mouth and I looked at her differently from that point forward. Almost instantly, I didn't care about it anymore. I was just like, why am I with you? I started questioning my love for this person. I started to resent this person because they did not live up to this image I had of them in my head. A lot of narcissists and toxic people build this false image of you that you can never ever live up to. Once this image is shattered, they will stop love bombing you, they will start to devalue you, and they will treat you like a stranger. It's like turning off a light switch in a relationship.
So one time I met this girl and she was amazing, and I fell in love with her almost immediately when I met her. But we knew each other for about a month and then we decided to start dating. And about a week into our relationship, I asked her, I was like, hey, why don't you ever want to spend the night here? Or why don't you ever want me to go to your place and spend the night there? And she was like, I don't really want to because I talk in my sleep. And I was like, okay, I mean, that's not that bad. She was like, yeah, but when I do talk in my sleep, I say really scary and disturbing things. And I was like, I mean, how bad could it be? So I eventually convinced her to spend the night. And she was like, okay, if I do start talking in my sleep, don't wake me up because it scares me a lot and I get really disoriented and I don't like it. So I was like, okay, I won't wake you up. She was like, if it gets to be too much for you, just go and sleep on the couch and I won't be mad. So I was like, okay. So that night, it was maybe 1 o'clock in the morning. She was asleep. I was still laying in bed awake. I think I was anticipating something to happen and I was trying to figure out what she meant by all this. And I noticed the bed was moving around a little bit. So I flipped over to go check on her and she was sat fully up and staring right at me. So I stared back at her, didn't say anything. And eventually she said something and it was in like a lower, raspier version of her voice. And she said, I'm going to eat the skin off your bones. So I just stared at her. I didn't say anything. And eventually she laid back down. And about a minute later, while she was still laying down, she said, if you don't sleep on the couch, you'll be dead by morning. So I was like, okay, I don't know if I can be in this room anymore. So I got up and I went into the living room and I sat on the couch and I could hear her through the wall. She was like wheeze laughing and saying, come back to bed. Come back. Or do you want me to come to you? Come back. And I didn't know what I was going to do if she like walked out into the living room. I didn't know if I was just going to leave the apartment completely or like try to wake her up. But we talked about it in the morning and eventually we just started talking less and less, and now we just don't talk to each other anymore. So, yeah.
Renovating a house with my fiance. I remember the specific moment that I realized it was over. The entire renovation, I had to take the lead on everything. I just wanted to pick like the tiles and the colors, but no. I had to find the contract. I had to schedule everything. Even the things that I assigned to him, I'd have to nag him. Have you called him? Have you scheduled that? It was exhausting. He had no get up and go. No ability to manage his own time. He needed me to mother him. Do this, do that. But the real moment was when we needed a sign off to knock down a wall. And he was assigned that. I got the contractor to knock down the wall, but he needed to get the sign off from the structural engineer saying that it was not a load-bearing wall. So I kept nagging him. Did you do that? No. 2 days later. Did you do that? No. 2 days later. Did you do that? Yeah, I got the sign off. Great. I scheduled the contractor to take down the wall. It wasn't load-bearing. The contractor took down the wall. He calls me. The roof is caving in. How was that possible? My fiance lied. He lied about having the sign off. There was no meeting with any structural engineer. He just didn't want to do it, so he lied. It was at that moment that I realized this is not a man. This is a child. I do not want this to be the rest of my life. Peace out.
I totally understand the last girl's story. Like, when you have to push a man to do literally everything, you're telling him to manage his own time, do this, do that. It can be frustrating as a woman, helping a man to plan his life, like his life. Are you his mom? You know, all of those kind of things can really be frustrating. Okay, then the other guy, see, the one that got me scared was that man's story, where he was talking about, oh, go to the bed. Now, something should have told him that there's something weird about that lady when she said, if I start talking in my sleep, please do not wake me. That is the point I would tell you to pack your things and start going to your house. But whatever thing that gave him mind, and he said, okay. I don't know what he wanted to see. What that was really scary. Like, I was scared for him at the point where she said, where the lady said, you come back to the bed. I would have left the apartment for her, literally. I should have left the apartment, or I would have left the apartment. Nothing would keep me in the apartment at that point. But he stood there till morning and they had to talk about it. Like, you had to literally sit down and talk about it. I am not going to sit and talk about anything. As you're waking up, you're going home, because I'm not sleeping in the apartment all night. I'm going to go knock at my neighbor's apartment and sleep over. Then the next morning, you're going home. And after that, that's the end. I'm going to ghost you. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are. And for the lady who actually shot this content, like, that asked the question, yeah, I'm happy she's in a happy place, but I know how her pain and all that, and I'm sure she's also in a happy place. You guys let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, okay? Let's have the conversation. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and be part of the family. See you guys on my next video. Bye, guys.